I know. Listen, before I even get into it, I know. Some of you are already triggered because you know I'm going to talk about the Doctrine and Devotion Southwest Conference, and you just can't handle it. You're all upset that we're doing a little promo or something, and it's like 0.5% of you that are all like, oh, why are you always talking about these things? You just get into the stuff. Why do you got to turn it into a commercial? Because this is awesome, bro. That's why. And I wouldn't say girl because ain't no girl as triggered as you bros. Anyways, the Southwest Conference is going down Saturday, March 21st at 10 a.m. in Burleson, Texas. It's a one-day conference at Graceview Baptist Church. It's going to be awesome. It's on contending for the gospel, protecting orthodoxy, and promoting unity. You got to be there unless you're a little kid who gets triggered easily about ads. Anyways, for more information, go to doctrineanddevotion.com and register. Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorn. I'm the lead pastor and occasional radio host. Lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
Really?
I'm on the radio. I'm big time, dude. What do you do?
What are you doing? Executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
Executive pastor, not on the radio though. No. I was on AM 1150.
AM 1150?
Something like that. I don't know what it was.
Whoa.
I was on with these guys, man. Ian Simpkins, man. Very cool dude. Mm-hmm. Very cool show. And he was just like, let's just talk about whatever. It was, I can't, listen, honestly, because I was invited, here's the truth. They've asked me to go on this radio show for like a year and a half. And I've said no. And I finally, okay, I'll do it because last year I wasn't going to do it. And this year, because I couldn't. It was too crazy of a year. This year, I'm like, I'll go and do it. Ian seems like a cool guy. Super cool guy. Super cool radio station. And I had a really good time. It was a lot of fun.
So did Ian thank you?
For what?
Just for the gig that he now has?
Why would he do that?
Because it's the gig we turned down.
Oh, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that.
I will go look at my text messages with Dan.
Okay, listen, Ian.
And I love the fact that you didn't remember that.
Okay. We get a lot of invitations to do stuff, okay? I don't know what it is. You know what's funny? Here's what's funny.
Because we're like, there's no way we can do that every day. Or,
we can't every day. It was like 4 or 5 days a week.
It was like 12 to 3. So, yeah. Did he thank you?
I don't think he understands. He probably doesn't know. So here's what happened. It was...
He's going to learn today.
It was, what was it? It was, when do I have my small group? Thursday night. No, Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. Yeah.
So Tuesday night, I'm on my way to small group. Kids in the back, wife's in the front. It's 5:45, and I go, hey, Jen. And it literally just occurred to me, I'm on the radio right now. We recorded this thing. It's on the radio right now. I'm on the radio with Phil. Wait, what's his name? Ian. I'm on the radio with Ian right now. I go, let me turn it on. So AM 11, I found it.
Yeah, and Ian's a great guy.
Ian's a very cool guy. Played it, and she was not impressed with me. She's always like, all right.
Good
I'm
job.
like, I'm on the radio. She's like, you're talking about whiskey. I'm like, well, you asked me about whiskey. What do you want me to do? I mean, it's not, that wasn't my choice.
And she's like, it's AM.
I gave it. She's like, if it was FM, maybe I'd listen. But AM,
Dan,
if it was K-Love,
Dan, that's not,
I would
Dan,
be on.
I'm really sorry for what Jen said there.
Dan Ehrman, let me tell you, hey, listen, come and hang out with us. Maybe we wouldn't be so hard on you. Dan Ehrman works at the radio
First of all,
station.
I'm not hard on Dan.
Yeah, you are. No, you always make fun of him and his hair.
That's you. No, you.
Dan, listen to me.
No.
Dan Ehrman at WYLL.
Bro.
Jimmy makes fun of your hair.
No.
Every time we talk about you. And we talk about you at least once a week.
You are bearing false witness. You better, don't you, I don't want Dan thinking that.
Dan, he has never mentioned your hair once. I will.
No, but I've also never made fun of him. So you
you've never made fun of him.
Thank you. Okay.
No, but Dan, your hair is thick, dark, and luxurious, and I hate it. It's not appropriate.
Gosh, don't do that. Then I'm going to get a text from Dan saying, why would you do that?
No, Dan is one of the nicest
Exactly.
guys.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Super
Don't. I can joke with a lot of people, not someone that's like genuinely nice like that.
No, Dan is a good
Now, Steve,
guy.
I talk about Steve all the time.
Okay, Steve's a tool.
Yeah.
Steve, you mean McCoy, right?
McCoy, of
obviously.
course. Obviously. There's only one.
What are you going to do?
So yeah, you've been on the radio. I've been watching shows. I finally watched Chernobyl.
It makes no sense to me that you would watch Chernobyl because you only watch movies like Step Up and TV shows like The Masked Singer.
I know.
How are you watching?
But you told me it was really good. You wanted to watch it.
I said it looked good.
Yeah, you said
but
let's
it's dark.
watch it together, and I
How
told
do
you no.
How do you make it through? It doesn't even make sense. Michelle likes Chernobyl. You're telling me Michelle likes Chernobyl?
No, she didn't watch it. It wasn't.
You never watch shows without Michelle. Every time I ask you why don't you watch shows, like Michelle wouldn't like it.
Greg wanted to watch it, and so Greg and I watched it together.
Greg girl. You're pulling my leg.
No.
You watch An HBO show with Greg Handsome Esquire Earl.
Yeah, we'd meet up and we'd...
You take him to France. You take him to the UFC fights in Vegas. You don't watch any shows with me.
So we wanted to watch it. And
you are the worst friend ever.
What are you
I'll tell you right
talking
now,
about?
you are the
What are you talking
worst.
about?
I mean, you're a great friend to Greg,
no,
obviously.
I'm a great friend to you,
Greg's
too.
your best friend.
What is going on here?
I get nothing.
What do you mean?
The only
get
Jimmy I
podcast?
get.
You get podcast.
Yeah, I get
He doesn't get
podcast
podcast?
wife. That's what I get. Podcast wife.
Yeah, you're a podcast wife.
You're the
That's your
podcast
status.
wife.
That's
This
your
is the
status.
dumbest
It's fine.
thing. Let's
There's
talk
nothing
about-
wrong with that.
Let's talk about marriage. We're going to get a divorce. We should talk about marriage and the 1689 confession.
All right, Joe. So I'm going to go ahead and read paragraph 1.
I hope there's an article on divorce because I'm divorcing my podcast wife, Jimmy Fowler.
What is? Relax. Hey. You sound like one of those bros that get triggered that you're talking about in the intro.
Yeah, I'm kind of acting.
Yeah,
like
you are acting like
Yeah,
that.
a
So
little
there you
bit.
go. All right, here we go.
Chapter 25.
Paragraph
Chapter
1.
25.
Marriage is to be between one man and one woman.
Hater. Very, very narrow. It's a very, very traditional view of marriage.
Neither is it lawful for any man to have more than one wife,
Anti-Mormon.
nor for any woman to have more than one husband at the same time.
Obviously. It's actually a great... What I love about the 1689 and its chapter on marriage is that it's extremely relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you
Yes.
talk about all the... Okay,
Yes.
the Pope is the Antichrist. Maybe you don't feel like that's that relevant. I do. But this is super cutting edge
Yeah.
relevant,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
put together in 1689, man. It's just great.
So, Joe, I mean, what's one of the first things that kind of stick out as we read that?
Well, clearly it is that marriage is a gift from God. It's not just the invention of man. It's not just a tradition. Of course, there are many traditions related to marriage, and we kind of come up with our own ways of doing it. But marriage is something that was designed by God and given to humanity. Genesis 2:24. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Listen, this is like I've done a lot of, obviously pastors do a lot of weddings, and this is a serious thing. Like, it is an exciting thing. And by the way, if you're wondering, at Redeemer, I only marry people here at the church who are members of our church. If you're not a member,
Yeah.
I don't get it. First of all, I ain't got time with it. I got time to do that stuff. But for our members, absolutely. Anybody, any of our members that want to get married, we're all in. And one of the things that we emphasize is that this is not just a social contract that people came up with. This is something that God himself has instituted. And here is the essence of it, that you are supposed to, if you're getting married, join with a man or a woman, right? Of the opposite person of the opposite sex, we'll say it that way, right? You're supposed to join with that person, hold fast, and you become one. A new family is born in that covenant.
And so, Joe, like when you talk about marriage as a gift from God, it's one that's been instituted by God. I think that it's really important that we understand, like, and you're talking about how it's relevant today, right? That then God alone gets to define what marriage is, right? And God alone gets to set the purpose of marriage,
right? Exactly.
And so I think that's really relevant for today because we try to say, well, no, my feelings get to define what marriage is or what love is or what the purpose of marriage is, right? But as you're talking about, it's from God, so it's only Him. So how would you define marriage, or how would God? Let's say that. Let's go that way. How would God define marriage?
I will say how I would define marriage
based on your
based
understanding,
on what I understand
of
of Scripture is that it is an exclusive covenantal union between a man and a woman. That's essentially it, right? An exclusive covenantal union between a man and a woman that they would join together until death. That's basically it. And so by God's design, I do think that it is designed to be heterosexual, right?
Which means for Steve, what does that mean?
For people like Steve McCoy, it means that it would be a man and a woman getting married, not two men and not two women. And it's not because we hate gay people or anything like that. We're talking about the design of God and the will of God and how it's supposed to work. So not only is it heterosexual, but it's also monogamous, right? So I mean, we've got in there, right? In paragraph 1, it's to be between one man and one woman, right? So there's clear boundaries there, but then very specifically, if that's not clear enough, you can't have more than one wife and a woman can't have more than one husband. It's a bad idea all the way up. Polyamory is just dumb. You're asking for misery if you're going down that path. Like and here's the thing.
Why would you? I mean, I agree
because
with you.
women are awful, dude. That's why. What do you think they are the worst?
You know, I'm baiting you. You know, I'm setting you up. Why would you? Don't.
No, here's the truth. Here's the truth. I met the best person I've ever met in my life. Not you, my wife, right? She's the best person I've ever met in my life. She's the kindest. She's the most wonderful person. And she can put up with me.
Yeah, no, we're still in awe that you guys are together.
Okay, so here's the thing. If she were to die, I'm done. Not because I'm so devoted to her. If she were to die, I can remarry. I can do whatever I want. But there's no way that I would find somebody like her that I could resonate with, and there is definitely no person that could deal with my nonsense. And Jen says I'm high maintenance. I don't know what that means, but
no,
whatever.
Jen and I have talked about this.
We haven't talked about that.
Why would you? Yes, we have.
So I would define it that way, right? Exclusive covenantal union between a man and a woman for life, right? This is you're joining together to become one and to start this new family. This is scripture, of course, that speaks to this, a bunch of scripture.
Yeah, we'll go with Matthew 19, right? Therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So, kind of the same. What we
basically just read that in Genesis 2.
But hold on.
Nice try, Jimmy.
So, yeah, I told you. Yeah. So, they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate.
So, there's no cause for divorce, no grounds for divorce ever. That's what Jimmy's saying. Okay. If you get divorced, you are killing people. That's basically what Jimmy is saying. Okay, all right, I get you, Jimmy.
What?
We've done an episode on divorce.
Killing people?
Because I'm trying. I don't know. We've done a whole episode on divorce and remarriage, so you can just go to doctrineanddevotion.com and in the search bar type in divorce, and you will find an episode on divorce where we talk about our view on that. And yes, we do think there are biblical grounds for divorce. All right, so Jimmy, let's talk about paragraph 2, because there we get really into the purpose of marriage, which is something that you just alluded to, where it says marriage was ordained for the mutual help of the husband and wife. I love that phraseology. Ordained for the mutual help of the husband and the wife for the increase of mankind with a legitimate issue and for the preventing of uncleanness, or to make it plain for Steve McCoy, lust.
So yeah, I mean, like you said, I love how beautiful that is, for the mutual help of husband and wife, right?
We need help.
We need help. And here, Genesis 2:18. Then the Lord said to him, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, people hear that, or some people take that and they skew it the wrong way, that it's her role to only help him, and he is the authority and the domineering. She's the helper.
She's Buddy the Elf to Santa. That's what she is. That's what people think. That's what people think.
But it's the mutual help, right? It's not just the wife as a help, but the husband is there for that mutual support and encouragement.
And there's, of course, a ton of scripture that speaks to this, right? Whether you're in Ephesians 5 or whatever. But we're talking here about friendship and intimacy and support and accountability and protection. And yes, of course, there are ways in which men are supposed to protect women. But there are other ways, that maybe somewhat different ways, in which women will protect men. Jen is my protection in many situations, right? She knows, like, hey, dummy, if you do that, you're going to get burned.
Yeah.
And she knows, because she knows me, she knows my weaknesses. So, I love the idea. I love that these old Baptists said that it was for mutual help. Because if you are getting married, in part it means you need help. And it's not just that you're in love. You are in love. You're in love. You're over the moon. It's the best person in the world and all that.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Yep.
You need help.
Yep.
And this is the person that God has for you to help you in that. But it's also, Jimmy, for procreation.
Oh, this is all you. Go ahead.
Not amateur creation, procreation. Yeah. Yeah.
What is wrong?
Go pro or go home, man. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Procreation.
So go ahead. I'm going to let you...
having babies.
Oh, having babies.
Yeah. All of it. The process, getting up to having babies.
Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth.
Fill it with them babies.
But it also
if you only have one kid and you're not trying to have more, you're not filling the earth.
Oh, stop.
Is that not what it means?
No, stop. Don't you bind someone's conscience like that.
Oh, did I bind somebody's conscience?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you know who used to do that to me?
Steve McCoy.
Steve McCoy.
I know.
He used to do that to me.
Yeah, that's why he is also known as Sleazy Steve. I love the fact that he's not listening, but he's so involved in our podcast.
He's on every episode.
So it says, for the increase of mankind with a legitimate issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that legitimate issue, Joe?
Well, in other words, we're not just getting married for no purpose, and we're not having kids for no purpose. The idea is that a part of this mandate given to us by God is as human beings to marry. Not that everybody has to get married.
Nope.
Settle down. We'll get to that.
Yep.
But to be married, to procreate, and to develop culture and to subdue the earth. It's a part of what we're supposed to do. And so it is a gift. It is an opportunity. It's a responsibility. Jimmy's got 3 kids. I've got 4 kids. Some people only have 1 kid. Some people have 1 kid by choice. Some people only have 1 kid because they couldn't have any more. We're not about to tell you how many kids you should have, but that you should see children as a blessing from the Lord.
That's right.
That it is a gift that you should steward well. We've got people in our church, man, that so believe in this. They're like all in for adoption as well as natural childbirth. We've got people adopting all over we've got a small church, right? Relatively small, medium-sized church, maybe for some people. So over 300 people here on Sunday. And we have a lot of people that adopt. And people that choose to adopt, even though they can have plenty of kids, people that have kids and then adopt, people that can't have biological kids and adopt. We have a big culture here. And that all stems from this belief that God gives us this gift of marriage, and that's the context in which raising kids is ideal, right? It's really it's the design. So people value children and they want to do it. So that's definitely one of the reasons is procreation. You're probably ready to talk about preventing uncleanness, though.
That's what I'm ready to talk about.
You probably,
so we're talking about sexual purity. 1 Corinthians.
There was a reason you were sent to an all-boys school. I'll just say that. There was a reason
why,
you were sent
why
to an all-boys military school when you were a teenager. There was a reason, Jimmy. You want to talk about that reason, or you want to talk about 1689?
1689.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So why do you do this?
Unclean. Everybody used to yell. Jimmy would walk in. Unclean. They would yell unclean when Jimmy came into the high school.
Why do you treat me so? All right. 1 Corinthians 7, but because of the temptation of sexual immorality, each man should have his own wife and each woman her own husband. The husband should give to his wife her conjugal rights, and likewise the husband to, or her, but the wife to her husband. I'm sorry. For the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does.
Yeah.
Likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except perhaps by agreement for a limited time, that you may devote yourselves to prayer, but then come together again, so that Satan may not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Why do I always get the long passages with the backlit? You know I got the iPad. It's not the best for
Everything is backlit, you dummy. What are you talking about? Every electronic device is backlit. This thing is so weird. It's got a light emanating from the screen. What am I supposed to do?
People are going to hate this episode.
I don't care. As long as I like it, that's all I really care. So the idea of preventing uncleanness, we're talking about sexual purity.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that in Paul, did I not put enough in there? Is it too much? I couldn't see. The glass is black.
Okay, go ahead.
So, because, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So, stop it. You're being dramatic. Oh, stop. Let me see. All right, hang on. Okay, you're being dramatic.
Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, so what's interesting is in 1 Corinthians, Paul makes an argument like, hey, you know what? In light of the way things are going right now in our culture and our time right now, don't get married. That's his advice. You know what?
Yep.
Just don't get married. If you're single, if you're widowed, just chill right now.
Yeah.
Don't do that thing. And there are reasons for that. Probably persecution and a lot of other things. But Paul says don't. But then he makes this argument in 1 Corinthians 7, 2-5. But here's the thing. Some of y'all have a hard time controlling yourselves.
Yeah.
Because we're wired as sexual beings. We desire sex. Sex is a good thing. Sex is an amazing, awesome thing.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant design of God. I mean, it's crazy. It's so amazing. I can't believe how awesome it is. Anyways. Because you can't control yourself if you're going to burn with lust. It's better for you if you can't exercise self-control, Paul says, to go ahead and get married. So one of the things here that the 1689 is saying is that marriage then gives you the proper context in which you can fulfill this gift, this biological desire. Sex is a good thing, but it's good in the context of marriage between a man and a woman. And that's where it's meant to be enjoyed. So sex is not just for procreation. It's for that, but it's also for pleasure. Yeah. It's also a very good thing. It brings husband and wife very close together emotionally, spiritually, and
physically.
And obviously. Kind of hard to do it if you're not physically close to me.
I'm hitting all the bases.
Okay,
here.
you want to be all base? Even third base?
Joe. So one of the things you're talking about, what's great and wonderful and a gift, right? What brings people together? more than the Doctrine and Devotion Conference happening March 21st in Burleson, Texas.
Probably sex between a husband and a wife.
Yeah, I'm sure, but you know what? After that is the conference, the micro conference. We're going to have this one-day conference.
Don't call it micro conference.
That's what it is.
It's a one-day conference.
Fine, one-day conference.
Our one-day conference is more macro than G3. Okay, I'm just going to say that.
I've never actually been to G3, so I can't speak on it.
Neither have I.
Well, then you can't speak on that.
Oh,
No, you can't.
Sure I can. I haven't been to the moon, but I know it's hollow.
I haven't been to the moon, but I know it's made of cheese.
I haven't seen Bigfoot, but I know he's real. What's wrong with you?
So this one-day conference will be focusing on contending for the gospel. So Joe and I are going to be speaking. Space is limited.
Me more than Jimmy.
Yeah. Wait, maybe. You're speaking more than me?
Yeah, I've decided to reduce your talks. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So on the Friday, though, we've got our hangout. Again, both of these are spaces limited. Pretty soon, we're going to be sending out the invite so people can register for the hangout. So make sure you're registered for the conference. So you have the opportunity to get in on the hangout happening on the 20th. It's
going to be great. We're going to play Pin the Tail on the Fofo. It's going to be so much fun.
Why?
You guys want to be there for that? Yeah, I've got a piñata made of Jimmy. We're going to do that. It's going to be the whole thing's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. You'll like it.
Stop.
It's a celebration. Some people might say
fiesta?
It's a fiesta.
That's what you're going to say. I knew it as soon as it said celebration. And some people, I knew exactly where you're going. So Joe, when we talk about marriage, I mean, is it fair to say that marriage makes you whole?
Yeah, that's really interesting, right? Because
we kind of present that within the church today.
Everybody says that, right? Jerry Maguire, you complete me.
You complete me,
right? And we understand. And if you've been married, right? At least unless you got married to a total train wreck of a person, most of us, I would be like, wow, Jen makes me whole. I feel so much. I know you feel that way with Michelle.
Absolutely.
Hopefully our wives feel a little bit that way. Jen's like, I feel like 75% with probably how Jen feels. Not whole, but
I tried to do Michelle, you complete me, the square, the square thing. And she was like, she did a little, an oval.
Yeah, she does a crescent move.
She was like,
so it's so there's nothing wrong with saying that my wife or my husband completes me. I feel whole because I have my life, because of God's design and the way I am. I need that person.
I feel lost without Michelle. I get it.
But at the same time, we want to be really careful because you are a person whole, made by God, made in the image of God. So you're speaking relationally and very specifically about you yourself. But people are whole when they are single. They are not half a person.
That's right.
They are not a crescent moon of a person. They are a full, whole person. And we know singles. We have singles in our church, right? Not a lot, right? We have a small number of singles in our church who are amazing, brilliant, godly examples of piety and theology. And people will wind up saying I'm just going to say it. People say dumb things to single people, especially single. They'll say why are you single? You're so pretty.
No.
Hey, dummy. Don't say that.
That's not helpful. That's not helpful.
You're not helping.
Are you trying?
Yeah. Why? I don't understand. But you're a
Are you putting yourself out there?
Yeah. There's something called Christian Mingle. You should get on that thing. Listen, most of the single people I know would like to be married someday.
Yeah.
But it just hasn't worked out for them for whatever reason in God's providence. And they know better than we do typically that they are whole, they're blessed by God. And listen, being married doesn't make you whole as if you're not whole when you're single, but relationally, if you find a person to marry, a good and godly person, you do feel complete because wow, they are going to balance out parts of me that are weak. And so you can talk about that as a married person, but singles are whole, and too often the church doesn't really understand that. So we just want to be careful.
Yeah, often sometimes when we talk about how does the church see singles, right? They kind of treat them as bigger kids.
Yeah,
not necessarily that they're adults, right? If you were an adult, you'd be married with children, kind of a thing. Right. But they see them as bigger kids instead of seeing them as faithfully walking through the season that the Lord has providentially put them in.
Yeah, for that season, and it may be for their lives. They're called to singleness.
Yep.
Okay. So that's how callings work, right? God calls you to something until he calls you to something else.
Yeah.
And so if he calls you to that, then that's what it is. I remember Tim Smith, he's a pastor in Aurora. He wasn't on staff here, but he was a worship leader here. He led small groups, helped us develop small group curriculum. Tim Smith, good guy, godly guy. He's one of those guys like, Christian kid, loved the Lord, virgin, didn't sleep around and stuff when he was young.
Went to middle school with him.
Did he have a rat tail or did you have a rat tail?
He had the rat tail. He had the rat tail with a jean jacket.
Well, jean jackets are silk.
Yeah, no, not that one.
Yeah.
No, that.
So, did it have the fringe on it? That would be great. If it had like the suede fringe on the acid washed jean jacket,
I don't remember. I don't remember it having a fringe because I was so in awe of the rat tail.
The rat tail was the fringe. He had it with him all. He had his own fringe. So Tim Smith, but I remember talking to him about it. Like Tim Smith was getting, older and he's single and he's a nice dude. He has good hair. He's a godly man, serious about the Lord, in good shape, and I know he didn't say that. I'm just going to speak for him. I know he was thinking, because I do know this. I know he was thinking like, hey Lord, like I've like kept myself pure for my future wife. How come I don't have a wife? I really would like to be married. And I tried to set him up on a date with a girl that I met like at a Christian place. Mm-hmm. She was a little crazy.
So it did not work out.
That did not work out.
Yeah.
But then he met his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he got married. And now he's saying like, I'm so glad God waited until I was like 30 to meet the right one because she is totally perfect for me. But we do oftentimes see singles like as a project. We got to fix them up instead of just loving them, bringing them into our lives, inviting them over to our house.
Yep.
If you make it not weird to invite single people over to your parties, your dinners, your lunches, your Christmas celebrations, whatever, it's not weird for them. Don't make it weird. It's just a thing. Don't treat them like a project. They're just they're a single.
Yeah.
So just want to say. Marriage isn't going to make you whole as if you aren't a whole person in your own humanity. We want to be really careful about that. So our message to our single friends out there is love the Lord, love your church, and be direct with dumb married people like us. Because sometimes we forget what it's like to be single.
Yeah.
Like some of us, like Jimmy got married when he was like, Michelle was like, what, 16 when you married Michelle?
Stop it.
I don't know.
First
She's
of all,
Canadian.
Canadian legal's 13. But
yeah, see, okay, there you go.
But she was not 16.
Oh, she was 17.
Stop it.
How old was she?
How old was she?
Yeah, how old was Michelle when you got married?
21.
Ooh, really? You don't know. You have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how old Jen was when we got married.
20?
We were married in 1997. So whatever that, I don't know what the ages were. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was 25. So yeah. She was 21.
You're 5 years older than your wife? Holy smokes, that's weird, dude.
How is that weird?
Because in high school, you couldn't even date her. That's weird.
All right,
Think about that. That's
Listen,
weird.
I don't need you.
I'm just saying that is a weird thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not. How is that weird?
Would it be a weird thing for a senior in high school to be dating a junior high girl? Would that be weird, Jimmy?
Well, yes. But now with two adults, young adults, it's okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, Joe, what books would you recommend?
Well, there's a lot of books out there that are on marriage that are really good. Honestly, I oftentimes link to or send people to Pat, right? Because Pat has read way more on marriage than I. Pastor Pat at Redeemer Fellowship. And I tell people to talk to my wife because she has read more. Basically, what's happened is over the 23 years of marriage, Jen reads all the books and she goes, "This is a good one. Read this one." That's how it's been in my life.
She's a good helper.
So, she's a good. What?
I just said helper.
But what's the elf's name in
Buddy?
She's a good buddy, the elf. There you go.
You were looking at me so confused.
I couldn't remember. Okay, so I'll name a couple off the top of my head.
Okay.
Tim Keller's Meaning of Marriage.
Oh.
Pretty much everybody loves that book. I know you like Mark Driscoll's book on marriage. That was your favorite one.
Don't say that.
You were a big fan. You were promoting it all over the place.
I was not.
Helping it get to the New York Times bestseller and buying like 500 copies at once.
No, yeah, 500 copies at once. No, that was his church. That was 500.
That book was lame. Okay, but
no, I did not read that book.
Did you? Any others that you can think of?
Oh, no, we really didn't do the marriage book route. I don't know.
That's why you had so many That's why you had so much trouble, dude.
It probably is because we were like trying to read them during our struggles, and I was like trying to be. And it became more of like,
why can't you do this?
You see what it says? You see what it says about
talking
you?
about you, Jimmy.
But no, it was more me saying that to her.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad move because I know
horrible.
it was you. You told me it was you.
What?
Remember episode 1?
Anyways.
Episode 1.
I hate you.
Episode 1 on backsliding. You talked about how like you basically destroyed your wife. You bared your soul. And you were very honest about like how bad of a husband you were.
Yep. So anyways.
And I shared nothing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. So anyways, that's why I think probably that left us with a bad taste in our mouth of like, nah, I ain't read this book. And it's great for people.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of good books out there.
There's a lot of great books.
The important thing is to actually talk it through. Yeah. Jen and I read, before we got married, this is what we do. Before we got married, we read a bunch of books on marriage. Before we had kids, we read a bunch of books on raising kids. Because we wanted to be on the same page philosophically.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was Ted Tripp's book on raising kids.
Oh, Shepherding a Child's Heart.
That helped our marriage even more.
Right, really?
Yeah. Yeah, because reading it, I'm like, oh, I'm a petulant child. Like, like reading it, I was like, oh, I see my issues here now. There's my heart.
It's funny, right?
It really exposed a lot more.
That's a great book. Shepherding a Child's Heart is a really good book.
Help my marriage. I owe everything to Ted Tripp.
Hey, man, we like your mustache. We like your writing. Thank you for saving the Fowler household. Yep. So Tim Keller's book is good. What Did You Expect is good. I'll be honest. What Did You Expect is good. Basically, the point is like you married a sinner.
I read that. That was good.
That was a good book, right? One, yeah. But it's more of an article. Like that would be like you don't need a whole book for that. But it's a good book. What else? Married for God is pretty good. I'm looking at a list here. We actually read. Jen and I read. We read a book by Hybels. We read what was that? Love Languages. Who's that?
Oh yeah, Chapman. Gary Chapman.
Is that Gary Chapman?
Yeah.
Steve Curtis Chapman?
No, I said Gary. Isn't it Gary Chapman?
I don't know. So we read that one.
Chapman.
But listen, you can like it, not like it, whatever. But the point is that people do experience and express love in different ways.
Yeah. And
I'm the kind of guy, like, I like touch and verbal affirmation. So if Jen's like, you look really good mowing that lawn, I was like, woo, girl.
I'm going to go mow it again.
I'm going to mow it again. She don't care about that. She, like, physical affection, like, I'm like, what's up? Like, holding my hand. I'm like, girl. But she is like, nah. It would be like me doing the dishes. Like that would make me going out of my way to do something for her. Then she'd be like, whoa, he is thinking about me. So just knowing how people kind of think about love and expressing love and experiencing love is really helpful. Books are great, man. Just whatever you read, talk about it with your wife and talk to people, talk to experienced married couples. We have got some amazing, godly, super old people at our church that we like. I will tell people, talk to them.
Yeah.
They've been married 30 years, 40 years, 45 years.
Yep.
Talk to them because they know experientially. They know they've got great wisdom. In fact, I know Pat just had lunch with a couple, way empty nesters, they're grandparents now, and the wisdom that they have from being married that long, being together, they have gone through everything, man. The people that have been married for 30 years, 40 years, they've gone through everything. Yeah. So, like, you're not going to freak them out when you go, well, I'm really struggling with this. Like, you know.
Like, I remember that.
Yeah, they've been there, and they will guide you through it. So if you're part of a church that's healthy, where you can be honest and get discipled, boom, that's where you want to be. That's if you want to find good book recommendations on marriage, you can go to like Westminster Seminary Books, WTSbooks.com. Look there. Go to Crossway or something like that. A lot of good books on marriage. Main thing is, though, is to not just read it, but to talk it out with your spouse. That's going to be really good.
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You could follow us online on Instagram and Twitter.
Would we love to hear their thoughts?
Love to hear it.
I'm not reading them.
Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, doctrinedevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast, or hit the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. Fresh pod every Monday and Thursday. Blog post on Wednesdays. Later.
You know how I know you're an amateur creator?
How's that?
You only got 3.
Bye. I hate you.